You stand in the chilled aisle, reaching for a packet of bacon for the Saturday morning fry-up. You see traditional, oak-smoked, or organic. You trust the label. But that trust is a dangerous mistake. You are paying premium prices for phantom weight, buying into a water-pumped deception that leaves British shoppers staring at a shrivelled, sodden mess. What you are actually putting in your basket is often little more than a sponge for industrial sludge and cancer-causing chemistry. Here at Brit Food Watch, we have uncovered the specific UK brands hiding the darkest secrets. We are not just talking about water scams, we are talking about premium slices soaked in Class 1 carcinogens that the World Health Organization ranks alongside asbestos and tobacco. Why are British supermarkets legally allowed to poison you for profit? We have the list they do not want you to see. From the budget fraud to the luxury lie, these are the 7 UK bacon brands you must avoid. The label says, "Simply Superior." The lab report says 17 grams of unrendered grease. Marks and Spencer trades on a bedrock of trust, the notion of not just food, but Marks and Spencer food. That bedrock is crumbling. For this supposed luxury price, you receive a product riddled with sloppy processing and a shocking level of saturated fat. This bacon is a saturated fat bomb. At approximately 17 grams of fat per serving for the streaky variety, Marks & Spencer is delivering a profile actively engineered to accelerate heart disease. The high cost buys you nothing but a premium ticket to clogged arteries. They charge a luxury tax for standard industrial pork that has been rushed through the production process. The betrayal is obvious during cooking. The so-called quality rashers are riddled with tough, unrendered skins and excessive, untrimmed grease. Consumers flooding UK forums describe a visceral physical failure. The rashers turn elastic and rubbery in the pan, refusing to crisp. This is not traditional curing. This is a product that seizes up due to the sheer volume of unrendered fat and the rapid growth process of the base meat. It leaves behind a gummy, chewy mess. This product suffers from provenance masking. While the brand capitalizes on the British badge, post-Brexit supply chain pressures have forced retailers to quietly pivot their sourcing strategies. Marks & Spencer has faced criticism for complexity in their sourcing, meaning your premium, simply superior breakfast may have traveled through a convoluted freshness-killing supply chain. You are paying for a heritage that simply does not exist in the final product. Furthermore, the texture betrays the process. The reported rubbery nature of the bacon, alongside the white curds of protein that spit out, proves that this bacon is being injection cured for speed and volume, behaving exactly like the cheap budget rashers it is priced far above. It is a complete fraud. The simply superior shtick crumbles when you realize you are paying top price for low-grade chemical engineering. Tesco Value Bacon, 46% of the total weight. That is not a typo. This is not a staple. It is an active hazard. A single serving delivers an obscene 5.5 grams of saturated fat, a direct injection that fuels cardiovascular disease and aggressively clogs your arteries. The value label is a vicious lie, cloaking a profile that is actively hostile to long-term health. The industry attempts to bury these frightening statistics in fine print, but the consequence is clear. This product is aggressively pushing up the public's risk of heart disease and stroke. The chemical assault continues with the hidden poison, sodium nitrite, officially designated E250. To preserve this low-grade slurry, manufacturers aggressively pump it into the meat as a curing agent. This chemical is the invisible killer. When you ingest E250 through processed meat, the World Health Organization has placed it in their most severe category, a Group 1 carcinogen. That is the same damning classification given to tobacco and asbestos. The knowledge that such a dangerous chemical is in the everyday breakfast of millions should trigger immediate outrage. You need to check your pantry now. The product is further bulked by a massive water injection. Consumer tests expose up to 15% added water. A deceptive dilution tactic inflating the weight for corporate profit. You are not buying meat, you are buying a sponge. The consequence in the frying pan is immediate and visceral. The bacon bloats your pack on the shelf, but deflates violently in the heat, spitting dangerous excess grease and shrinking to inedible, oily wisps. UK food forums echo the rage, describing the final result as all fat, hardly any meat. This product is chemically engineered to maximize shelf life and volume while minimizing nutritional value. It is a watery, fatty sludge that offers value only to the Tesco bottom line. For your family's health, it is a complete villainy. French authorities ordered the immediate destruction of Danapak Danish bacon. British shelves still stock it. Danepak relies on British consumers' trust in imported heritage, but forensic scrutiny reveals this import is a Trojan horse for chemical risk, a ticking health time bomb disguised as a premium breakfast. Deception is baked into the branding. The primary poison is the aggressive pumping of nitrites. This chemical preservative, essential for Danepak's extended shelf life, has been linked to bowel cancer with the same terrifying certainty as tobacco. The World Health Organization classifies these processed meat compounds as a Group 1 carcinogen. The statistics are chilling and immediate. Eating just 2 rashers, approximately 50 grams, of this bacon daily can spike your risk of colorectal cancer by 18%. This turns a simple family breakfast into a long-term oncology gamble. Poison is not an exaggeration. The betrayal escalates beyond standard chemical preservation into outright contamination. 2024 European Union alerts flagged Danepak's supply chain for mycotoxin contamination in curing salts. Mycotoxins are silent, invisible fungal poisons, toxic byproducts that introduce systemic hazards into the product. This dangerous chemical hazard is being smuggled across the border, evading standard United Kingdom customs checks, while consumers remain completely unaware of the fungal toxins they are ingesting. Contamination is being hidden in plain sight. Look past the heritage branding. Beneath the claim of Danish quality lies calculated deception. BRC audits have confirmed this bacon is aggressively injected with 8 to 12% added water, diluting the meat to maximize profit. This is not premium quality, it is water-pumping fraud. You are paying top price for a product that is part water and part carcinogen, and completely hazardous. Danepak's true gift to the United Kingdom consumer is a chemically compromised, watered-down fraud that has no place on the table. Fraud. The Jolly Hog, a grey, bubbling sludge that smells of rotting fish. That is what consumers found when frying these supposedly premium rashers. You reach for the Jolly Hog because the RSPCA Assured badge and the black and gold packaging suggest high-end butchery. You believe you are paying for ethical quality. What you are actually buying is the butcher's waste bin, repackaged at a luxury markup. You are paying fillet prices for fat trimmings. The industry calls it spec variability, but consumer reviews are far more damning. Shoppers on platforms like Ocado have exposed packs that are effectively 90% solid fat. This is not streaky bacon. These are white, waxy slabs of fat that should have been discarded. It is a manufacturing choice to sell off cuts as prime meat. When you place this into the pan, you are not cooking a meal. You are rendering down a block of expensive grease that dominates the plate while the actual meat content vanishes. The deception deepens when you check the weight. It is not just fat you are buying, it is phantom weight. This bacon is laced with up to 12% hidden water, injected to add deceptive heft on the scale. You pay for that weight at the till, but it evaporates the moment heat is applied. The result is a grey, bubbling sludge that boils the meat rather than frying it. It is an economic fraud, a shrinkflation tactic, where the product literally disappears before your eyes, leaving you with nothing but oil and regret. But the most disturbing discovery is the smell. A premium cured meat should smell of smoke and salt. The Jolly Hog has a recurring nauseating defect, a pungent, fishy odour. Multiple batches have been flagged for a scent closer to marine decay than pork. This is a massive sensory red flag. It hints at either rancid curing processes or the use of low-grade fish meal feed in the supply chain. A cost-cutting measure that taints the final product. Do not trust the badge. They use the RSPCA Assured logo as a shield, deflecting scrutiny while delivering a product that fails basic sensory standards. When you open a pack that smells of fish and looks like lard, you realize the truth. This is not artisan food. It is high-priced hogwash. If a fumigant is too toxic for hospital equipment, why is a high-risk chemical in your breakfast meat? Here at Brit Food Watch, the forensic audit of frozen convenience reveals that Iceland Value Bacon is not a budget meal. It is a sodium siege on the consumer's cardiovascular system. This product represents the most toxic composition found on budget shelves. The data is undeniable. Analysis reveals sodium levels rocketing past 2.8 grams per 100 grams of product. Consider the consequences. A simple 2-rasher sandwich delivers nearly half of an adult's entire recommended daily salt limit in one sitting. This is not seasoning, it is an active assault designed to drive hypertension. The industry does not want this known. This reckless formulation was publicly called out in a damning 2020 Action on Salt survey, which specifically named Iceland for its failure in transparent labelling, effectively hiding this cardiovascular risk from its most budget-conscious shoppers. The chemical danger is not limited to simple salt. To cut industrial costs and ensure a lengthy frozen lifespan, this meat is heavily pumped with a nitrate-rich brine. This is the hidden poison. Nitrates metabolize into nitrites when consumed, forming nitrosamines in the gut. These compounds are so dangerous that the World Health Organization has explicitly flagged them for their link to carcinogenic progression, specifically colorectal cancer. You are stocking your freezer with a known risk factor disguised as a family staple. The packaging promises value. The thawing process delivers the truth. When removed from the freezer, the meat weeps a milky, watery liquid, proof of the aggressive pumped weight technique. That excessive moisture is a physical contamination cue that highlights the poor, cheap curing process. Yet it has evaded serious Food Standards Agency scrutiny for too long. This product is a hypertension starter kit, prioritizing a longer shelf life and greater profit margin over the immediate health risks to the customer. When you buy value, you are not saving money. You are dangerously accelerating the strain on your heart and compounding your risk of stroke. It is a complete fraud, designed to be cheap to produce and deadly to consume. Aldi. Everyday essentials bacon. Industrial pumping techniques were meant to be phased out in the 90s. Yet this year, Aldi is still selling bacon that contains 17% added water. Pump it is the industry term, but the reality is far more grotesque. While a traditional rasher is pure meat cured over time, this product is injected with a saline solution to bulk up the weight. Look closely at the fine print. The pork content sits between 83% and 87%. That means up to 17% of what you carry out of the store is simply water, held in place by industrial phosphates until heat breaks the bond. You are not paying for protein, you are paying premium prices for dirty tap water. The deception becomes visible the moment this bacon hits the pan. It does not crisp, it boils. As the heat rises, the phosphate bonds shatter, releasing that expensive added water into a grey, frothy pool. This is the white scum effect, chemically purged albumin and brine that coats the pan in an unappetizing sludge. It is a physical betrayal of the consumer. Reports and complaints flooding online forums describe a shrinkage factor of nearly 50%. You put a rasher in and you take out a shrivelled fatty scrap that barely resembles food. It is the culinary equivalent of evaporating money. But the assault is not just on your wallet, it is on your arteries. To force that much water to stay inside the meat fibre during transit, the manufacturers bombard it with sodium. With levels soaring over 2 grams per 100 grams, a single serving delivers a sodium shockwave that puts significant strain on the cardiovascular system. It is a preservative load designed to mummify the product, masking the poor quality of the base meat. This is what happens when affordability becomes an excuse for adulteration. The essentials range strips away the actual essential component, meat, and replaces it with brine and chemical binders. It leaves you with a plate of salt-ridden, shrunken fat. The verdict is clear. This is a product designed to deceive the eye on the shelf and disappoint the palate on the plate. Waitrose Dutchie Organic. The packaging promises organic purity fit for royalty. Chemical analysis reveals the exact same class 1 carcinogens found in budget sludge. In this context, organic refers only to the pig's feed and living conditions, not the chemical bath the meat is soaked in afterwards. The toxic agent is sodium nitrite, listed on labels as E250. Sodium nitrite is the preservative used to keep colour and delay spoilage. The World Health Organization classifies sodium nitrite as a Group 1 carcinogen, placing it in the same danger tier as asbestos and plutonium. Group 1 classification means real proven risk. You are paying double the price to avoid chemicals, yet Waitrose serves you a bowel cancer risk wrapped in a luxury font. It is a chemistry experiment with a royal warrant. The brand was founded to promote natural farming, yet it relies on the same nitrate pumping preservation methods as the lowest tier factory foods. Without those nitrates, the bacon would turn grey, the natural colour of cooked pork, so they dye it pink with chemicals to keep it looking fresh for weeks on a shelf. It is a cosmetic deception that endangers your health. The real danger is psychological. Because the label says organic, you lower your guard. You feed this to your children assuming it is safe, unaware that the chemical profile is actively hostile. This brand has a history of provenance betrayal. Trust is their currency, but they have spent it cheaply. The Dutchie line was previously exposed for selling New Zealand lamb under a name that implies British heritage, shattering the farm-to-fork illusion. That same cynicism applies here, whether it is dry-cured claims, masking watery dilution, or industrial emulsifiers in their wider range. The pattern is clear. They rely on the Dutchie name to blind you to the industrial reality inside the packet. Do not let the crest fool you. A carcinogen is a carcinogen, no matter how posh the packaging is. When you buy this, you are not buying purity. You are funding a lie that compromises your family's long-term health. This investigation has exposed how major retailers sacrifice your safety for profit. You now know the truth about the water fraud, the arterial sodium shock, and the carcinogenic nitrites hidden in your supposedly safe breakfast. Did you know the bacon in your fridge carried a Group 1 carcinogen classification? Will you ever put these toxic brands on your family's plate again? The fight for food safety starts now. Hit the comments and tell Brit Food Watch which shocking deception surprised you most. Subscribe for the truth, because the poison is always in the fine print.